Dragon Ball Daima episode 9 titled Thieves is here. And from where we left off after last time, Goku had just defeated Tamagami 3 in an amazing battle and retrieved the 3-star Dragon Ball. Him, Glorio, and Pansy are now on their way to Warp to rendezvous with Vegeta, Bulma, and Hybis. While they're looking for a place to stay for the night, Pansy takes off a little cap and puts it on Goku's head to hide his ears and to hide his hair, his pointy hair, because remember, that's what the Gendarmerie are looking for, is a kid with spiky hair and a red stick. So they make their way inside to the front desk to request for a room, and as they walk in, they're being watched by these two characters. One's like a bluish Majin character, not Majin Buu, just Majin, because that's a demon person, a person who lives in the demon realm. And another one who looks like a bird. He's like a big yellow, like terror bird, if you're familiar with those. But they're watching them, and they notice Goku is carrying a bag, and they're pretty suspicious of him. And of course, when Glorio and Pansy are trying to get the room, Goku, he takes his hat off almost immediately. He's just like, "Oh, man, I can't keep it on. My head is itchy." And so, in that moment, these two recognize him as the spiky-haired kid who defeated the Tamagami and reclaimed claimed the Dragon Ball. And so these two people watching them, they want that Dragon Ball. So, darn it, Goku. So they get to the hotel room and they take turns taking a bath. Pansy goes first. Then she comes out, tells Goku he needs to go because he stinks from earlier in the day when he fought Tamagami 3. And so she tells him he has to go. When he's done, it's kind of funny. He comes out, he's feeling pretty fresh, and she doesn't have any extra clothes. All he brought was his gi. And so Pansy gives him like some of her clothes, and so he's got this funny little outfit. He looks pretty, it's just fun seeing Goku in different clothes than what we're used to. And so all of a sudden there's a bunch of noise out in the lobby, and so they go out and there's like this wolf man, and he's just causing a bunch of trouble. And he looks up at Goku and the others on the upper level, kind of on like this little walkway, this balcony, looking down at him. And so as they see him, he whistles. And that bird guy that we saw with him earlier breaks through the window into their room, snatches up the Dragon Ball, and flies away. And I'm just thinking, oh, great. Now we have to go on like an episode or two looking to try to retrieve the Dragon Ball that was stolen, find this guy or whatever. But we don't, because Pansy was on top of it, and she placed a tracker on the Dragon Ball. And so she pulls out her radar, shows it to Goku, and points upward. So the guy who took the ball is flying up. And so they're hiding in this cave, and it's kind of funny. So it's like Goku beat them there because he's behind them while they're talking this whole time. And it's just kind of like where he just, kind of comes up. He's like, "Hey, who we hiding from?" And they just freak out, and they just dive out of off the ledge, and they're being chased by Goku. And they do like this little game of not game, but, they're playing keep away, keep the Dragon Ball away from Goku, just tossing it back and forth. But Glorio shows up, and he's just like, enough of this nonsense. He uses his lightning magic, and he just uses it kind of like a whip, and he wraps it around the two thieves, throws them off into the distance. They're just a little twinkle in the sky, in the night sky. And so they're gone. They get the Dragon Ball back. Everything's fine. They go back to the room where Pansy's waiting for them, and Glorio, he goes up to her. He's just like, "Hey, you did a really good job." And he holds out his fist. She smiles and gives him a little fist bump. So we get a nice little moment with them. This is the first time they've actually gotten along and actually seem to be kind of cool with each other. So I'm glad to see them becoming friends because I think they're going to be really cool. So Goku keeps watch throughout the night because he had slept earlier on the plane. He eventually falls asleep, but nothing happens. They wake up, everything's fine, the Dragon Ball's fine, and they continue on their way. So we cut over to Vegeta, Bulma, and Piccolo, and it's funny. It's funny, but it's not that funny. It's kind of annoying in a way. So they're going through like the same stuff Goku and them went through, like when they first got to the Demon World. Their plane got hijacked. The previous night they were in like a nightclub, and it's kind of a cool looking scene. It looks really cool. And so Vegeta, he's walking around in there. It's like the one Anakin and Obi-Wan go into when they're looking for like the assassin. And so Vegeta's walking around, and he bumps this guy, and he tries to pick a fight with Vegeta. Vegeta just crushes him. just beats his ass, and then he does it to all his friends too, and so these guys, they believe that they're the ones who stole the plane and wanted revenge, and so, but it's a cool looking scene. It looks really pretty. Like Daima has a lot of amazing looking shots, and this is one of them. And so they're trying to decide what to do now they don't have a plane. And it's kind of annoying, with the demon world with this gas in the air, making it hard to fly because they could just fly and make this like 10 times faster, but they can't. And so they're trying to decide, they're like, okay, let's just call the princess and have her come pick them up. So have Pansy come and pick us up. In the meantime, Hibis, he's like, hey, do you guys want to play this zombie game? And they're like, what's that? And it's like, oh, well, there's a forest nearby, and if a zombie bites you and you transform, you lose. So it's like, I mean, yeah, of course you're gonna lose. You're gonna die, or you're gonna become a zombie. And so it's just kind of a fun little scene. They don't actually go in, and so it's interesting. So Hibis, he has like this belt on, and like the center like buckle part, it opens up and there's like a eyeball on it, and it's just like this red eyeball. And Bulma looks at that thing and she's like, "What in the world is that?" And he points to it, and the eye just kind of starts wiggling, like moving around, like shifting around, and she's just freaking out. He's like, "Oh, I found this eye in the mountains a long time ago and put it on my belt." And so it's very interesting. I don't know. I don't think this is the Territan Oculus. I don't think this is the evil third eye that Goma was talking about. Um, he refers to it as a living eye, and so, but I could be wrong. It could be. I mean, that is something Toriyama would do, is just have this super powerful artifact, just end up being worn as a belt buckle. It's just a part of an outfit, and no one knows the whole time. But um, But based off of, the trailer, because I think at least, we see a glimpse of the evil third eye, and it doesn't look anything like this. And so that seems to be a theory going around. But, we'll see. Time will tell. But it definitely seems to be something. Okay, now hear me out. And I don't mean it like that. Hear me out here. I think Hibis is betraying Goku and the others, as well as King Kadon. Here's why. So the very next scene, we cut to back to Goma and Dagesu, and Dagesu, he's on the phone. He's talking to somebody, and he's just like, "Okay, now, okay, keep gathering information." And so he seems to have his own inside man, just like Arinsu has Glorio. And I think it's Hibis, and I think that little eyeball that he's wearing on his belt, that how it's looking around all the time. I think that's how it gathers information. I think he's gathering information on Goku and the others for Degesu, and possibly not even for Goma. Maybe Degesu has his own plans. Who knows though? It's just a theory. We'll see as time goes on. And so Goma's like, "Hey, what's up?" And so Dagesu, he's like, "Hey, we just got information that the people on Earth, that those Saiyans or whatever, he didn't refer to them as Saiyans. These people who defeated Majin Buu, they're here in the demon world or demon realm." And so Goma, he starts freaking out, and he's like, "Wait a second, we turned them into children. How can that be?" And so he's like, "Well, not to freak you out even more, but apparently they defeated a Tamagami and already collected a Dragon Ball." And so Goma's just beside himself. He can't believe this. And he even says again, he's like, "I should have used the first wish for the evil third eye." And so he brings that up again. So we're absolutely going to find out what this thing is sooner or later. So we go back to Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo, and Hibis. And they look up at a plane coming in, and Vegeta senses it's Goku's. It's Kakarot. So they land, they come out, reunite, and Goku's like, "Hey, everybody," and Vegeta, he's just like, "Hey, you're late. And he's mad because they don't have a plane, and so he doesn't like being cooped up like this. Um, Bulma and Pansy meet each other, introduce themselves, and she's like, "I'm Bulma, I'm Pansy, I'm Panji," and Vegeta, this is Piccolo, and Pansy's like, "Oh my gosh, you're a Namek," and so. And here's something that kind of bothers me. Kibito isn't there. He stayed on Earth to guard the temple. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, the dude has one chance to be useful, and actually get involved, and he stays to watch a lookout that doesn't need to be watched. Like, it's crazy. Popo is there. He can do it. So it's just me. That's just me being a little nitpicky, but it's not a big deal. So they talk for a minute and tell them that they're going out for the Dragon Balls, and Vegeta and them, they want to ride. They're like, hey, well, make some room, so we can come with you. And they're like, sorry, we can't get rid of our tent and stuff and all our supplies, and so you'll have to wait. Pansy says she'll get her dad to send them a plane, so they just have to wait a little longer. And this really pisses Vegeta off, so he's mad. And so they take off, and Piccolo's just like, oh, maybe we should have brought Kibito because he can just teleport. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Like, you could have. This should have been obvious for you guys the whole time. Like, he was the one who was gonna be doing all this. Anyway, so they take off. Goku's like, well, in the meantime, you guys can go deal with Goma if you want. So he's like, hey, go deal with the potential final boss, while we're hunting the Dragon Balls. We can kill two birds with one stone. So as they fly away, they're just talking, Bulma's ranting, and the group that Vegeta had beat up the day before show up, and they're not alone, so they got some friends, and so they're like, hey, we're we're here for payback, and so Vegeta is just, he's ready, he's already pissed off and he wants to blow off some steam. And so Vegeta powers up, he flares his aura, and he has this shadow all over his face. He's like, let's go, chumps. I'm ready for you guys. I've been waiting for this, cracking his knuckles or whatever. And he just whoops their asses. He just crushes them. And obviously, they're just a bunch of little goons and the, local troublemakers. They're not going to do anything crazy, and that's kind of the shame. Last week we got an amazing episode with Goku versus Tamagami 3, and now we just kind of back in that um, part of the story, where they're building up to the next big thing and stuff. And I wish they could kind of keep it at a good and not necessarily intense, but a good pace. We have to stay at a good pace, keep giving us action, but moving the story along as well. Get us out of these villages. I'm tired of these little towns. I'm tired of them stopping at hotels and doing all this unimportant stuff. It's just like, just get to where you're going. Like, these kinds of characters should not be hindered like this, and that's kind of annoying me with what they've been doing. And I really like Daima. I have loved it, every episode. They have really good things, and it still has lots of potential, and it's still doing really good. Like, last week was amazing, and I know we have a lot of really good stuff coming up, but just when we get to these parts, it's just like, man, you guys really are just trying to mess with fans. Like, just give us a bone, keep it up, give us the excitement we want. This is potentially Toriyama's last project. We should be on a freaking, riding on a ball of fire throughout this whole thing, and so, but again, that's just me. So Vegeta, he's holding the last guy. He's like, give us back our plane. And like, okay, it's just right over there. Don't kill me, you know. And so they're not going to be stranded now either. Thank God. Um, so okay, cool part, really cool part. This is the biggest part of the episode. It's the most interesting part too. We cut over to Arinsu and Marba, and they're like, "Oh, is it ready?" She's like, "Yes." And I remember last week they put some essence of Majin Buu that Arinsu collected during the Majin Vegeta fight. So part of Majin Buu. Find out Marba is the one who created Buu, the original Majin Buu, but he was a fluke, which is how he was so powerful. It's not something she can create. She can't create things that powerful, apparently. Um, and he was impossible to control because of this. And so that's why they consider him a failure. It's kind of like Dr. Gero in like 17, 16, 17, and 18. He considers them failures, even though they're extremely powerful and more powerful than him. And it's because they can't control him. It's kind of the same thing here. And so Marba pulls out this little glass jar. It's like a green little, like, kind of like a bead in it, bean or whatever, or a seed. And she's like, I used to have enough Cyberman seeds. I could sell them to outsiders. This old crone, she has a jar of Cybermen. And so she takes one out, puts it in the potion, or gives it to Arinsu, and she puts it in. And yeah, she's got Cybermen. like these little Cybermen seeds, which I'm glad are still seeds and not, native beings living out in the universe on some planet like they tried to change it to. So it seems that Toriyama or somebody at least, kept it to the original lore of the Cybermen of being like homegrown creatures, used for battle and stuff, which is honestly just so much better. And so Arinsu, she's like, it's fine that we only have one because things might not work out, so let's just use one. And so she takes the seed, puts it in there. This thing starts glowing. It's green. All this green smoke is just flowing everywhere. Arinsu plants the seed. We get like an eruption of smoke, like this big pillar. I almost thought it was forming like a beanstalk, but Marba's just like, oh, yep, it's looking good. Using a Cyberman as a base, we use various monsters, and as a finisher, the essence of Majin Buu to create this new Majin. And the thing just erupts, it just kind of like falls apart, just crumbles. And it almost looks like a Cyberman standing there, but he's a lot taller. He's not quite as green, and he's very odd looking, but we have a new Majin character. And he's not Majin Buu, he is Majin Ku. Majin Ku. So they have successfully created a new Majin, excuse me. And Arinsu's like, okay, Ku, Majin Ku, go and collect the Dragon Ball from Tamagami 1. And she's doing that as like a test, to see how strong he is. And he's just like, okay, you know, I copy that. And so this thing's responsive. He can communicate, seems to be under control. They successfully created a new Majin character. He kind of looks like like a Xenoverse Namekian, kind of with like the pink, like purple face, around the eyes. The Cyberman, everything else for his upper body. The Majin Buu pants. He's got the same pants Majin Buu has. He looks very interesting. He's not the best design I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna say it's a great design, or you know, me personally, I don't think it's even a good design, but whatever. I don't think he's a huge deal, at least right now. But yeah, it's interesting though. They successfully created him, and that's where the episode ends. So I'm very curious as to where this is going. Um, this episode, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad episode, but it's just kind of, disappointing after getting off that high we were all riding, last week and stuff. And so just kind of when the pace just slows down like this, it's just like, oh, come on. Don't do us like that. But next week could be interesting. Next week is titled Ocean. I have a idea on that. I have a feeling that we're getting close to the second Tamagami. If you remember the intro and stuff, we see him in a body of water, and he has a trident for a weapon, and they're heading to an ocean, and it seems to be Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo. So Vegeta, I think it's gonna be Vegeta, but it might be Vegeta and Piccolo who are gonna fight Tamagami 2. So we'll see though. Thank you so much for stopping by. That's all I have for you guys. It's a good episode. Check it out. Support the official release. You can catch it on Crunchyroll, Hulu, and Fuji TV if you have access to that, and even Netflix now. And in January, the English dub is also dropping, so that's exciting too. And we get to hear Stephanie Naldoni again, so I'm excited to hear her. I love her Kid Goku. She is so good. I missed her a lot. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your week. We'll catch you next time.